I have started the recording.
Okay. Welcome to January 2025 North Central Region Aging Network webinar. Today we have Holly Teray, who is a senior health educator with Michigan State University Extension. And Holly will be presenting on a program that Michigan State University Extension developed called Relax Alternatives to Anger. So I'm going to let Holly introduce herself, but before I go on, I want to remind people that if you are not, if you do not have a person in your state, and you are working with an extension, um, and you don't have a person from your state that has representation on the North Central Region Aging Network, please reach out to us. You can go to the website. It's ncran.org, and or Google North Central Region Aging Network, and you can connect with us that way. Okay, welcome, Holly, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christy, and thank you for inviting me to present. So as Christy mentioned, my name is Holly Teray. I have been with Extension for 23 years. And this program, Relax Alternatives to Anger, has been around for quite a long time. I think since 2008 is when I was introduced to it, and it's gone through several iterations and reviews and revisions since then. And the one that I'm presenting to you today is the most up-to-date version. So I would like to start with our affirmative action statement, as we do with all of our programs. MSU is an affirmative action equal opportunity employer. Michigan State University Extension programs and materials are open to all without regard to race, color, national origin, sex, gender identity, religion, age, height, weight, disability, political beliefs, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, or veteran status. There's,
Holly, Holly,
yeah.
I'm going to stop you. Cheryl said that people are in some type of NCRAN webinar room, and
Yes.
they're not with us. So,
Oh,
so I'm going to send Cheryl the
okay.
link
To the
and
Zoom.
to the Zoom,
Okay.
and
Well,
so
that makes sense.
yeah, let me do that, and then we will have more people with us.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's nothing that you did. I don't think that the link got updated.
Okay.
So hopefully Cheryl can um, share it with everybody else, and that we can have our people join us here.
Okay. So they're on the NCRAN website, but my Zoom link didn't get on the NCRAN website. That
Right.
makes sense.
Yep.
Now we got people joining. It's much more fun to have more people on. Not that I don't love chatting with you, Christy.
I know, but we chat all the time.
All right, I'm going to go back to the beginning then. We'll
Yeah,
just do
that
a
would be
reboot.
great.
Okay.
Um, Welcome, everyone. We're glad that you're here. Sorry for the confusion. We thought that we had the right link, but obviously we did not. So thank you for sticking in there, or sticking there in there with us, and we're so glad that you found us. So today is the first webinar of the North Central Region Aging Networks webinar series. My name is Christy Demitz, and I'm a health educator with Michigan State University Extension. And we have today with us Holly Teray. Holly's going to present on a program that Michigan State University Extension has created called Relax Alternatives to Anger, and how this program fits nicely with the Aging Network's mission of working with programs to help make older adults' lives healthier and happier. And so before we get started, I do want to say that if you are joining us from a state that does not have representation on the North Central Region Aging Networks committee, you can reach out to us and talk to us about how you can become involved. You can go to our website, which is ncran.org, and connect with us that way. And before people leave today, I would like to ask you to please take a short survey. I will put the survey in the chat box as we get a little bit closer to the end of our time together today. But I'm going to now turn it over to Holly. Welcome, Holly. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy, and thank you for inviting me to present on this program that is near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, my name is Holly Teray, and I've been with MSU Extension for 23 years. And this program, Relax Alternatives to Anger, as Christy mentioned, is an Extension authored program, and and when I was introduced to it was in 2008, as far as I can remember, and it's gone through several iterations and evaluations and different versions. So this is the latest version that you're going to be introduced to. And I'm just going to do a brief overview of the 4 lessons, and then we'll have some time at the end if you have any questions or comments. So I'll start with our affirmative action statement, as we do at the beginning of all of our meetings and presentations. MSU is an affirmative action equal opportunity employer. Michigan State University Extension programs and materials are open to all without regard to race, color, national origin, sex, gender, gender identity, religion, age, height, weight, disability, political beliefs, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, or veteran status. And there's my email, and I'll post it again at the end in case you want to contact me. So one of the things that we do with this lesson, it's very interactive. And the first thing that we do is to ask people, why do you think it's important to learn how to manage your anger? And why is it important to you? So if you could please put in the chat, why do you think it's important to learn how to manage your anger? We'll get you involved right away. And Christy will read the chats for me.
Yeah, so we have stay in control of the situation, better relationships, improve quality of life, only takes one action to have lasting consequences, avoid stress, to be kind to yourself and those around you, and to better communicate with others and manage stress.
So thank you. You can keep those coming in and we'll catch up on them later. But one of the first things we do is to introduce the relax concepts because every letter of relax stands for one of the concepts that's woven into all the lessons. And it's just a way to remember it really easily. So the R stands for recognizing your own anger signals. E is to learn to empathize and see things from the other person's point of view. L is to listen and really hear what the other person is saying. A is to accept that the other person's anger is not about you. And X is to X out the past and keep it in the present. Now, the second activity that we'll do, we do when we're teaching the class, and time-wise, we're not going to do it now, but I want you to keep in the back of your mind which one of these concepts is most difficult for you at this time. So is it, and you don't have to put it in the chat, just think about it. Recognizing, empathizing, listening, accepting, and Xing out the past. So we can look after our social and emotional health in many ways by forming and maintaining satisfying and healthful relationships, taking another's perspective, resolving interpersonal conflict, feeling capable and whole, expressing emotions, navigating stress, and having supportive relationships. Conflict can and does occur at various levels. Your personal level, that's your own thoughts, behaviors, and actions. The interpersonal level, that's between you and other people in your life. The institutional level, which is the places that you work, worship, and live. And the cultural level, which includes societal rules, norms, and beliefs. Additionally, experiencing conflict may or may not reach the level of trauma, which can be described as a profoundly distressing experience. Further, trauma can sometimes add to or intensify anger emotions. Relax, Alternatives to Anger, provides people with information and skills to handle conflict in ways that lead to better health and healthier relationships. Therefore, this program can be a resource for some to begin to work on healing. The foundation of Relax is focused specifically on the personal and interpersonal levels of conflict. For this program, we do not delve into institutional or cultural levels of conflict. So each lesson builds like a piece of a puzzle. To give people skills that they can work on, that so they can find solutions that work for them and for other people. The 4 lessons, which are ideally done once a week, are the first one is about what is anger. That's defining anger and learning to recognize your anger signals. The second lesson, we talk about calming down and de-stressing and learning how to relax when you're angry or stressed. The third lesson is the 6 principles of problem solving, where we talk about learning to empathize and listen to others, and accept that another person's anger is not about you. And in the 4th lesson, we talk about forgiving and letting go of the past, learning how to stay in the present and putting the concepts of relax into everyday life. So here are the objectives for the first lesson. We start by defining anger. We ask people, how do you define anger? We give the anger definition from the dictionary, and we help people just explore emotions about anger. Where is it in your body? Where is it in your thoughts or actions? What kind of feelings are underneath that anger? One of the things that we do is an activity online called the Anger Management Quiz, and I'm going to post a link to that in the chat if you are interested in taking that or bookmarking that, so you can share it with loved ones or take it yourself, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe 6 months from now, because this is a snapshot in time on how you handle anger with different styles. Most people have scores in all 4 different styles, but the one that you score the highest in when you're done with the quiz is your go-to anger management style. A lot of people have ties. Maybe they're a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it can differ from day to day. It can differ from situations. How I express my anger at home might be quite different from how I express it at work, hopefully. So we go over the different definitions of the four different styles. Um, Open aggression is style A, and people with managing this style of anger use physical or verbal force to get rid of the threats to the person. This is one of your body's natural reactions to severe stress. However, there are very few times when this is a good response. Physical or verbal force often leads to more anger and more problems, and people who vent their anger physically or verbally tend to become angrier rather than less angry. So it's not that release that people might use as an excuse. And then suppressed anger. People with this style of managing anger choose to pretend that they're not angry. They ignore their angry feelings and hope that they'll just go away. They feel uncomfortable expressing anger and don't want other people to know when they're angry. Anger that is ignored does not go away. People who manage their anger in this way develop headaches, ulcers, stomach aches, or other illnesses. It also doesn't get rid of the problem that's causing the anger. And then style C is that passive aggressive anger. People with this style of managing their anger tend to show their anger in indirect ways instead of dealing with the problem head on. They often hope that the other person will notice they're angry by refusing to talk or giving clues like slamming a door, stomping their feet. This style also tries to get back at the other person by belittling them or using sarcasm or gossiping, and it often leads to more anger and more problems. Style D, assertive problem solving. And this is when people are able to manage their anger and they're aware of when they're getting angry. They control their anger and express it in polite and honest ways. And yes, it really is, you really are able to do that. They can talk to others without attacking them. They listen to other people's points of view and try to solve problems in ways that meet everyone's needs. They can let go of their angry feelings and forgive other people, even when their problems can't be solved. They don't hold grudges and they're not bitter. So we try to normalize the different styles. I usually, when I'm teaching this, share that, you know, sometimes I live between B and C, even though they're not healthy for me and they're not healthy for my relationships. When I'm really not feeling well, I am in that B and C level right away. But I have to daily practice being that assertive problem solving. It takes it becoming a habit. So this is where we really want to tell people that you don't have to live in there. If it's not a comfortable anger management style, if you think it's interfering with your relationships, take some steps like we're going to learn in this program to move more often to assertive problem solving. One of the very important things we do in this first lesson is to let people know that anger is a normal and necessary emotion, that there are different types of anger, like situation anger. Something happens, you get mad. There's trait anger. We might know people like this. People who have trait anger are angry about everything from soup to nuts. Whatever happens, rah, 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 they're angry about it. And then anger control is a process of learning to help you calm down and deal with your anger, but doesn't stop you from being angry. It's your body's way of telling you something's wrong. It's an unmet need or expectation. For example, you become angry when someone cuts in front of you in line because you believe people should wait their turn. So anger can feel wrong to some people. A lot of people associate anger with violence, but there really are some positive healing and necessary ways to express anger as well. And when expressed appropriately, it can lead to having your needs met without hindering the needs of others. And appropriate expressions of anger can lead to stronger relationships and more satisfying situations. So this is one of those messages that has stuck through all the different iterations of relax is that normalizing it. A lot of people will say, I don't get angry. I'm not an angry person. Everybody gets angry at some time during the day. Some people get really angry, and some people just get a little annoyed. So, and then we want people to know that you have a choice. And knowing that you have a choice on how you react can be very empowering. And we talk about the consequences of unhealthy expressions of anger. Like if you express it in style A with violence, then one of the consequences might be people get violent back to you. You could get arrested. You could lose your job, your life. And then also that holding it in, suppressed anger, you can get sick, right? And the other one, I'm going to get this one, passive anger. People don't trust you because you're always hiding it, right? You're doing things to make people angry at you because you're angry at them. All of those things don't help solve problems, but there are consequences of healthy expressions of anger that we really want people to know about. So what if you disagreed with others without attacking them or becoming defensive and taking the time to talk to calm down before you talk to others? Well, a healthy consequence might be people may listen to you, they'll learn more about you, and problems may be able to be solved. And then we ask people always to ask themselves, what does it cost you? Because when you express anger in unhealthy ways, you always lose. When you express anger in healthy ways, it's always a gain. At the end of every lesson, we ask people to do an action plan. And we give them the definition of an action plan. Why is it important to do an action plan? And then we give them a suggestion of an action plan. And then they report on it on the next lesson. Another thing that we have throughout all of these lessons are quotes, because quotes are one of the ways that we learn. It's one of the ways that our parents taught us things like don't treat others the way, you don't want to be treated, or treat others the way you want to be treated. We learn those lessons. So yeah, we look for lots of quotes about anger and managing anger. In lesson 2, it's really important. Once you learn about what's making you angry and you get those cues, then you got to get some ways to calm down, because when you're upset and angry with people, and you're reacting in that moment, you're not at your best. I just saw this at the doctor's office too, this quote. For every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. I was like, I know that quote. It's in our lesson. So this lesson, we talk about, again, noticing when you're angry, noticing your body cues and actions, and learning to listen to people around you for examples of, oh, sorry, that was a check-in from last week. See, I got too excited. So we always review last week's before we go on to the next lesson, and we ask them how their action plans went. So those are some of the things we asked them to practice last week. And they only have to do one, right? They don't have to do an in-depth action plan. Try one thing, see how it goes. We talk about the stress hormone, cortisol, and how it's not good for you, how it can affect you physically and emotionally and mentally. We do the cortisol demonstration, and I probably have to change my video. Choose video filter. Video backgrounds, none. Okay, so this is our cortisol jar, and we do this demonstration during the classes. You can see my fingers through it behind the cortisol jar, calm, cool, collected, right? But then something happens. I don't know. You got kids and one child bites another, and this happens, or somebody breaks your favorite mug. Your brain is flooded with this cortisol. You can't see clearly. You can't think clearly. It's interfering with your prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking part of your brain. You have to let things calm down before you start to deal with the situation. So I'm going to put that aside and get my background back up, and we'll look at that later. Um, So next thing we do, we teach mindfulness on how to calm down. We do lots of different activities, but this is one of the ones we want to introduce the concept of mindfulness in almost every lesson that we do at MSU Extension because it's so good for you. So we can do this if you'd like. We've got a 3-minute breathing space that's guided by Mark Williams. And before I start the audio, if you'd like to sit in a comfortable position, try to take everything out of your hands. Just maybe take a deep breath in, blow it out, and then just settle into the quietness of your own space that you're in.
Meditation 8. The 3-minute breathing space. Taking a breathing space. Making a definite change in your posture so it embodies a sense of being awake. Perhaps closing the eyes if that's possible. And beginning step 1 by seeing what's going on in your mind and body right now. What's the weather pattern like inside? What thoughts are around? What feelings are here? Any sensations in the body? Not trying to change anything, but opening to what's already here. Then, moving to step 2, bringing the attention to the breath, narrowing the spotlight of attention on sensations of the breath in the abdomen, tuning into the changing physical sensations of the in-breath for its full duration and the out-breath for its full duration. And if the mind wanders, simply acknowledging where it went and gently escorting it back to the breath. And now step 3, expanding the focus of your awareness around the breath to take in the whole body, as if the whole body were breathing now. Aware of your posture, your facial expression, sensations on the surface of the skin and from right inside the body. Holding in awareness all the sensations in your body right now, just as they are. Coming home to the body. Coming home to this moment.
All right. So how was that activity for you? Go ahead and post your comments in the chat. Yeah, Christy said it was hard to quiet her brain, and that is absolutely normal. Almost everybody has a hard time quieting their brain. That's why we do it for like 3 minutes, because within that 3 minutes, maybe you got 30 seconds to 45 to actually have a quiet brain and to know what that feels like. So I hope you enjoyed that 3 minute breathing space. That is on YouTube if you ever want to access it for yourself. And I'll give a couple of seconds if anybody else wants to react to that activity. Okay, hearing none,
Meditation.
I'm going to move on. One of the things we want to have people do is to find what works for them. So we give them suggestions like these that are listed on the screen. And we also ask them to share in the chat what works for them. And, you know, it's important to find ways that work for you and to match them to what your stress cues are. So if you feel anger and stress mostly in your body, then doing something physical might help you calm down and relax. If you react to stress within your brain and your emotions, then finding something that allow your mind to settle, like laughter, smiles, even fake ones, can increase positive chemicals in your brain. So these methods allow us to work with our brain and bodies instead of fighting them. One of the concepts we introduce is moving from negative to positive self-talk, because that's one of those ways we get ourselves into really ruminating on anger and stress, is by just keeping up that negative dialogue in our brain. And researchers Tabibnia and Radecki suggest doing reframing, where you accept it, you label it, you verbally express it, and then you reframe it. For example, I'm stuck in traffic again, and it's really making me angry. So I accept it, I labeled it, I verbally express it, and then I reframe it. You know, I have some time to listen to some really good music right now. So you can do that with any situation. And again, we do the action plan and we have our closing quote, which is one of my very favorites. Pick your battles. You don't have to show up to every argument that you're invited to. And then lesson 3, we talk about the 6 principles of problem solving. And we have our quote, and we do our review, talk about the objectives, and I'm going a little faster because I want to leave time for questions. And we go over the 6 principles individually, but they are identifying the problem, keeping your cool, don't take it personally, listen to the other person who's angry, think of solutions together, and check back in. We talk about the 10 steps to effective listening that we suggest. We do an activity called the conversation activity, where we show them these 3 photos when we're doing class online, and we ask, what's wrong with this picture? This is a couple who cares about each other. They're trying to work out a problem. You know, how are they doing back to back? What are they missing? What's happening when one person is standing up and one person's sitting down? You know, how are you reacting to that? What does that tell you? And then 10 feet apart, and they're trying to work out their problem. What's going to happen? So it gets people involved and really thinking about what is the best way to talk to somebody when you're having a problem, getting to that sitting down at a table, facing each other. We talk about very important uh, learning how to construct an I statement, which is really difficult to do as opposed to a you statement, because you statements are always blaming, like, you are so annoying, you do this, you do that, and then I have to get upset. So it's helping people to take ownership for their own thoughts and feelings. And we really talk about not turning those I statements into hidden you statements, like, I feel angry when you are being a jerk. So we have to get those yous out of there. I tell people to keep this, write it down, fill it out if you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, and make sure you stick with the I statements. So that's that part. And then we have the activity of the crossing the river. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but the farmer has to get his goat, his wolf, and his cabbage across the river. But his boat's really small, and it can only take him and one other thing, either the goat, the wolf, or the cabbage. Now, if he leaves the goat alone with the cabbage, the goat's going to eat the cabbage. If he leaves the wolf alone with the wolf's going to eat the goat. So it takes some back and forth to figure out that he has to take the goat across, come back, get the wolf, take the wolf across, pick up the goat, take the goat back, pick up the cabbage, take the cabbage, leave the cabbage with the wolf, and then go back again and get the goat. So it takes a lot of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to come up with a solution that works for everyone. And we have our action plans, our quote. In lesson 4, we asked, do the review. Did you try any of the problem solving skills? We talk about how holding on to anger is not good for you. And one of the things we do is the forgiving quiz. So I'll just give you a hint that all of these statements are false. Forgiving means forgetting is false. Forgiving means you're a pushover is false. Forgiving means you can't get angry is false. Forgiving means reconciliation is not always true and not always false, because it cannot be healthy to do reconciliation. And then we talk about the barriers to forgiveness. And we ask people, what's your biggest barrier at this time after we go through those? We do the letting go ritual where we talk about how rituals help people. Have you written things on a kite? Let it go. Write the memory of a negative experience and bury it or burn it in a fire pit. Then we do our review of the 4 different lessons, weaving in the relaxed concepts with all of them. And then we read a scenario and we have people go through the relaxed concepts. How is that person going to recognize that they're angry? How are they empathizing? Are they listening? Are they able to accept that the other person's anger is not about them? And can they forgive and let go of the past? And that's a really good discussion too. And again, we do our action plan. And our final quote is, human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives. So that is the quick and dirty version of Relax. At this point, I would like to share with you, and I'll go back to questions, these 2 QR codes. The first one is if you're interested in taking one of these series, that will take you to our virtual calendar, which has not just the Relax programs, but all the virtual online free programs that we provide. And then the second QR code is to our referral. So if you know of somebody that would like to take the classes, you can share that link with them, or they can refer themselves and get it more information. So how do we open up the mics if people have questions? I'm not sure how to do that on a webinar.
Well, I'm going to help you with that.
Okay.
Perhaps maybe I'm going to. But first, thank you very much, Holly. This is a phenomenal program. The first time I took this, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody should do this. But as you were presenting, Holly, can you speak a little bit about how this program might help with other difficult emotions? So anger is a really big emotion. And so have you had other people comment or share with you how it's been helpful with not just anger, but just with other really big emotions?
Sure. One of the things we talk about is how anger is a secondary emotion. It's a cover emotion for lots of difficult emotions that you don't want to feel. So you get anger, covers all of them. So, if you're resentful or if you're frustrated and all of these things build up, that is what anger covers up. So, learning to deal with those learning to deal with those emotions before they rise up to anger. We talk about the anger thermometer, what's underneath those emotions, because nobody wants to feel all those emotions. That's why we blame them on other people. I don't want to feel like I'm really frustrated. I would really, I really want to give that to you to say you're causing all my frustration. And we talk about stress, how stress is homemade. All these chores don't stress me out, but how I'm thinking about all these chores is what's stressing me out. So it's happening in my brain. Um,
Yeah. So somebody commented that the anger management quiz was interesting. So um, let's see, I'll go back up there and I'll put it in
I got it.
again. Oh, you've got it? Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you that may have joined us a little bit later, and we apologize for the confusion, I'm so glad that everybody found us today, and it's great to have you here because this really is an amazing program, and hope that you do take advantage of either how to take the class or if you have the opportunity or it's appropriate to refer somebody to some of the classes that we have online. That would be great.
Yeah, the anger management quiz is an interesting tool. And you can bookmark that on your computer. It doesn't go to anybody. It's just it's a Qualtrics. It's not one of those Qualtrics that we manage or do research on. It's just a way for people to take it. And we always tell people you could take it 6 months from now and get totally different answers. It's just how you're dealing with things now.
And maybe even day to day. Things, we all change constantly, constantly.
Mhm.
So please put either your question in the chat box or I'm allowing everybody to talk now.
Thank
If you
you.
just want to, I said I was going to do that and I forgot to do that. So if
Okay.
you want to unmute yourself and ask a question directly, you certainly may do that. If you can please complete a short survey, that survey helps the North Central Region Aging Network to show results or show that these webinars are beneficial. So everybody should have the opportunity to unmute themselves if you want to ask Holly a question. Or if you want to just type it in the chat box, you're welcome to do that as well. While we're waiting for questions, I'm going to introduce the February webinar, which is February 7th. And the webinar is titled Elevating Well-Being Through Therapeutic Gardening. In February is a great time to think about gardens because it's kind of a wah-wah month in a lot of our states. So we will have a horticulture extension specialist from Kansas State University and a state coordinator from Kansas State, Kansas Extension Master Gardening Volunteer Program.
We haven't done, Kara asked, do we have information on long-term success with people on this program? That hasn't been a part of the research of this program. And actually, we have paused evaluation for a couple of years, while all the evaluations over the years have been analyzed and collated as part of somebody's PhD work. So we're waiting for the results of that. And hopefully in the future, we will be able to do some, like 6 months, a year after. Somebody asked if this is offered to younger participants. It's not appropriate for youth. It really is geared towards adults. And, we have tried in the past to make it more appropriate to youth, but it's not appropriate to youth and the things that they go through. Thank you. It is a great program. I love teaching it because I'm normal and I go through all of these emotions and really need to be reminded often of some of the good skills to managing anger and stress and all of those emotions. We have an online self-paced version of this program that you can find through our website if you want to take that, although I recommend that you wait about a month because we have updated it. It seems like every day I do this and I'm like, oh, that needs to be updated. That needs to be updated. One of these days it'll be perfect. But we have updated the D2L course on our extension website. If you go to, um, I don't have it right now. But if you just go to MSU Extension's website and you and you search for Relax, the online program comes up. And I do have, oh no, I already put that in there. The link is up there. Any other questions or comments?
Holly, do you have any idea of what the average age is of the people that are taking this workshop?
Off the top of my head, I'd say anywhere between 30 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have done it in person in senior centers
Mm-hmm.
and, got some really good feedback from those seniors. So,
Yeah. I know that I wasn't introduced to this program until just a few uh, years ago, and I am older. And I think people, no matter what age you are, like Holly said, this is appropriate for people 18 or older. But no matter what age you are, we can all learn that, we have these emotions. It's just part of being a human being. And just to be introduced to some of the ways that we can deal with those really big emotions if that's something that we choose to do. So thank you,
mhm.
Holly. This was just an amazing presentation. Thank you so much for being here almost the very first day of the new year. And thank you everybody for participating today. We had a really great turnout. We're sorry for the confusion at the beginning, but we're really glad that you stuck with it and hopped on to join us for today's session.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me, Christy. This was fun. I can talk about Relax all day, every day. It's just, I live and breathe it.
So you are able to unmute yourself, or you can type questions in the chat box. If you would please complete the survey. The link is in the chat box. I'll do it one more time. I think I've done it a few times. I didn't want to annoy everybody, but if you could please take that survey, that would be very helpful for us.
And my email's up there on the screen right now too, if you want to email me any questions about Relax. Funny, what do you call it? Interesting fact. It used to be called Alternatives to Anger, Relax. And one of the first things we did was change that because people would say, I'm not angry. Why am I taking an Alternatives to Anger class? When we changed it to Relax, Alternatives to Anger, people are like, oh, I want to take that Relax class. So marketing is important too.
It is. It's how we present it for sure.
It also made it a little confusing on campus because when I'd say, I know those files are on there somewhere, they'd say, I can't find Relax anywhere. And I'm like, look up Alternatives to Anger or A2A. And they're like, oh, there it is.
So Holly, somebody asked if this presentation would be available to view in the future, and it will be. We are recording it today, and so we will get that uploaded probably within the next couple of weeks. So you can go to the website, and on the website, the North Central Region Aging Network, it has tons of the webinars that have been delivered for several years. So go through those and find topics that you might be interested in. There's some really, really great information. So I put the link to the website, but it's just ncran.org. Very simple. And we'd love for you to visit the website and just check out all the great resources and information that's on there. Somebody agreed with you. Marketing is very important, Holly. So,
And about the youth and adult question, I'll give you an example. One of the lessons we talk about, how did the adults in your life show anger when you were young? So we really explore people's past in anger, right? And how does that behavior compare with how you handle anger now? So you can see that a lot of that stuff, I mean, adolescents are just normally angry and they have a whole different other issues than adults do. So that's why one of the reasons why it's not important, because we ask people to go back. How did your parents show anger? How were you taught to deal with anger? Were you in the generation of children should be seen and not heard? You're not taught to express it. And how do you want your kids to express it? What example do you want to show to them? So we take them on that whole journey of how anger is a learned behavior, how you act, how you respond to anger is a learned thing. So, and youth still have a lot of learning to do.
so true.
Mhm.
Well, again, we want to thank everybody for participating today, for hanging in there and finding the correct link. We appreciate your ability to do that and just not give up. Happy 2025, everybody. And we hope that you will continue to join us for our monthly webinars. The next one next month is on February 7th. That's the first Friday of the month at the same time. Next month, you should be able to go on the website and click the button to join the live webinar. And it should work then. That should work. Anything else that you want to say, Holly, before we say goodbye?
Nope, I'm just really glad to be here and share this program.
Yeah. Thank you, Holly. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Rhonda. We're glad that you were able to be here. We're glad that everybody was able to be here. We're glad that you find this a helpful resource for you.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing it with your participants in your community. We appreciate that. We have ongoing classes going, so there's not like they are going to be able to take it.
Well, thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, my dear. You did great. You pivoted and you just went with it.
I thought I was going to run out of time. I'm looking at my clock going, I want time for questions.
We had like 19 people, which is amazing
Oh,
for,
good.
yes, for the Friday after New Year's. And people are still, they have that holiday fog in their brain that they really don't have a lot going on. So thank you so much.
Sure. I had that holiday fog too. I'm like, how do I do Zoom? How, how do I share? Why isn't it popping up?
Nope, you were fine. It just, you had given us the link many months ago when we first asked you to do this. And what they normally do is they embed that link into the website so that people don't have to sign in. They're not waiting in some type of room, but
Well, so it was the holidays and that last minute switch and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, that was fun.
Thank you so much, Holly. You did a great job. People were interested. And so if you can finish the video and just send me the link, and then I can get somebody to post it on the website.
Okay. I don't know how to do anything fancy with editing it. So,
Okay.
um, and I just have to stop recording and I think that it just renders and then I'll send it to you.
Yep. That sounds
Okay.
good.